What's going on, everybody? Sonar here, and I wanted to do a video on how to change your oil on a Cummins ONAN 2500 watt propane generator that I've got in my Lance 975. It's one of my favorite components of this entire camper, and so I want it to remain running perfectly. So the first thing that I'm going to do before I start working on this oil change is to turn on the generator, get things kind of warmed up so it's easy to get that oil drained out of the system. Alright, now we just need to wait a little bit and let that warm up. Alright, now so we've let it run for about 15 minutes. It should be plenty warmed up, so I'm going to go ahead and shut it off and get started. Alright, so the first step is to remove this cover so I can get to the dipstick, which is also the oil fill as well. So I'm going to just remove that with a flathead screwdriver and we'll be good to go. So to help drain all the oil, the first thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and remove the dipstick, which is also the oil fill cap. And it's real hot because it's all warmed up, so I'm going to use some pliers to just go ahead and get that out, just so I don't burn myself. As you can see, the dipstick is also the oil fill cap. This right here, you can see, well, you might not be able to see, but essentially the oil looks really good. It's probably hasn't really been used all that much, but the generator's at 20 hours, which is the break-in period, so I'm going to change it anyways. And I don't know what the previous owner of the Lance, you know, what kind of maintenance they did. So better safe than sorry. I'm going to go ahead and replace the oil, and so let's get started. It seemed like I read the manual for the correct model number, you know, the RVQG 2500 LP, which is the one that I have, but apparently I read the wrong one. The one that I read had the drain plug in the very center of the unit, but mine's a different configuration, so I ended up finding the drain plug. So really do some research when it comes to the particular model that you have to be able to find the drain plug. It was a little bit of a trip into the internet to figure it out, but I've got it figured out, and so let's get started on it. Alright, so here we are. I'm all set to go. I've got a 9/16 ounce wrench, which is what I need. The other model number that I was looking at required a 14 millimeter a wrench size to remove the oil drain. So this one's a little bit different. Like I said, I've got my oil pan right here, got some gloves on to protect my hands, got the wrench. Let me show you what I found as far as the oil drain location. The one that I was looking at had the oil drain plug about right here where this little filter is, right in the center. And this is where I have the drain plug on my particular motor, right there. So I'm going to start off by loosening this with the 9/16 and of course drain everything into this. There we go, starting to drain. That's why we wear gloves. Alright, so now it's pretty much all drained out, so it's time to replace the drain plug, put that onto the specific torque, which is below, and we're going to replace the oil. This particular generator calls for 0.6 quarts, so right around that range. So the one that I actually was reading about originally took a single quart, so that seemed like it was going to be easy, but now we've just got to make sure that we put just enough in and watch that oil level so we don't add too much to the system. So let's get started on just adding the oil. It's that easy. All right, so now all we need is the oil. I ended up getting this Onamax 15W40, which is what the manual called for a wide range of temperatures. I think it's between 10 degrees and 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you're generally using this within that range, you know, this is probably the way to go. There's other viscosities that they recommend for different temperature and environment situations. So be sure to check out the manual for those different viscosities. And the only other thing that we need is a long funnel like this, a long neck funnel. You know, get back in there. It doesn't seem to fit just right because it's not narrow enough to really seat in there far enough. But it's going to do the trick. And so let's get started. Just go slow, and we're gonna check it with the dipstick as we go, so we don't overfill. One thing I did notice is that because the funnel doesn't fit exactly correctly, it's important to go really slow with pouring the oil, and also it helps to put a little shop towel underneath to make sure it catches any of the oil that ends up dripping out. Just take it slow, it'll all get in there. One of the things to keep in mind is the manual says not to screw in the plug slash dipstick while you're checking the oil. Just simply put it in, pull it out. All right, so it looks like this is just perfect. You know, what I like to do with most of my engines when I'm doing oil changes, whether it's on my truck, my boat, whatever it is not fill it all the way up till it's in the maximum range. I like to have it just a little bit below, maybe a 1/4 inch or so below, and that seems to be right about where it's at. So we are good to go. So all I need to do is replace the plug slash dipstick, and we are good to go. All right, everybody, so that is the tutorial on how to change the oil on this RV QG 2500 LP. A lot to say, but a very easy process. Just make sure that you remember, I'm not a professional. You know, I'm just a dude that likes, you know, working on my own equipment. And so refer to your owner's manual. Make sure you do some research before you end up tackling this task. Make sure you've got the right equipment to do the job, and you're good to go. It's a really easy process, and I know you can do it yourself. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys out in the water.